First question that I have for you, lovely gentlemen, is why in the world do you think darkness is mentioned before light?
Because Genesis 1 is to just describing God putting chaos into order.
So the first thing that God created was something that was formless. Verse 2 says the earth was without form. So I think I agree with you. I think that's a good start. Unformless is something like potential.
Darkness and light have the symbolism is saturated throughout scripture, but even in its saturation, there are a multitude of different angles that can be looked at for the symbolism of light and darkness. In this particular situation, light and darkness represent chaos and order. And like he said, Genesis 1 is talking about how God brings order out of chaos, or we can say God brings purpose to potential, or he brings purpose to the formless, the void. That's probably the accurate angle to take. With the formless and void can represent a lack of purpose or lack of direction, a lack of aim or goal or something like that. And God is reorienting the darkness toward a specific end and bringing light, or by bringing light.
To piggyback off of Jalen there, if you take it from just like an artistic perspective, when an artist has wants to begin a piece of art, they can't really just start with the art itself. You have to have some sort of canvas in which to draw upon and paint upon. And so when it says in the very first verse there, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So we have like our canvas here. Now the earth was formless and empty. There's nothing really there. It's just pure potential right there. And so it says, now the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the water. So you could look at this as an active way in which God is starting to take the potentiality and to form it into actuality, to actually carve it into something, if we were to take this sort of artistic language with Genesis 1 here.
That's kind of how I'm viewing it too. It's full and unexplored potential. In any situation, as you explore, you bring light and understanding to where you're exploring. And some of the most eye-catching contrast paintings usually start with a black canvas, because you have the darkest in the back, and then light emanates when they paint lighter colors. So I think that's a beautiful picture of this unrealized, unspoken, full potential that's unexplored.
We have a comment here from Emily, says tohu vabohu, emptiness and void, very womb-like. It is the womb from which new forms emerge. And so it makes sense to me that this language be connoting something in its formation stage, that making of potential. Sean says potential precedes purpose. He distilled down some of what Dylan had said there. Especially, I like the idea of a dark canvas creating the contrast for when the light appears, right? I think that makes a whole lot of sense, especially from the perspective that we're taking it, which is a more abstract, symbolic sort of interpretation, because we know already that literal darkness happens when light is not there. And since God hadn't created light yet, of course there's dark, but at the same time, God didn't have to say that darkness was there. It could have just said the earth was formless and void, and then God said. But these details matter. As condensed and distilled as Genesis 1 is, it seems like nothing is there on accident. Everything matters. Every piece of it should matter. So to bring up the text again, and there in verse 3, we have it, the premier star, let there be light, and there was light. How cooperative our creation is. And God saw the light, and that it was good. God divided the light from the darkness, and called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And evening and morning were the first day.